Hello, everybody. I'm behind the camera. Welcome to Shay's Hobby Dog Bay. I got a sad video for y'all. I'm gonna try to do this as quick as I can, and try to get through it without crying. Okay. And that's why I'm not showing myself on video, and why I'm showing y'all the living room. Two reasons why I'm showing y'all the living room. Okay, I am no longer a mama anymore. I am now only a granny. And to explain myself, I was mama to our dog Butch. I'm granny to Gracie Girl, my granddaughter. So I'm still a granny, thank the good Lord. But I'm no longer a mama. We had to have our Butchie boy put down yesterday. Yesterday was Sunday. Today is Monday, the day after. Sorry for me having to clear my throat and everything. So he was getting old and getting bad anyway. And I think I had even mentioned that to y'all. Okay, the past 3 days, yesterday being the third day, has been pretty rough. So Friday was the first of the 3 days. He did not wake up Friday and get up off of his pallet that was in there beside my bed at all. All day long, he laid in there asleep. I would go in there, I would talk to him. He would raise his head up and look at me. I kept trying to ask him if he needed to go outside. He would not go outside. He would, he would stir a little bit. He would get up and sit down, on his hind end, on his pallet. He'd turn around and curl around and lay back down. But he never would leave his pallet and come out of the bedroom all day long Friday. Till that evening when Albert come home from work. Elizabeth come in and they started cooking supper. Then he came in here to the living room and got on his bed, which used to be right there, And he even ate a little bit. And we even got him to go outside. Okay. Saturday, he got up and came in the living room, but I couldn't get him to go outside any. But he started using the bathroom on the floor. Number 1 and number 2. He only did number 2 one time. But number 1, oh my word, I lost count. But I was having to clean it up all day long Saturday. Could not get him to go outside. And he would just lay around. But he did start crying, whining and crying a little more than what he had been doing. So I had called Albert and told him. I even called Katie and told Elizabeth when she got home from work that, it's been a rough day. I've had to clean up after him all day long. Something's got to be done with him. It's getting too bad. So, sorry. Sunday, it got worse. We got to watching him and realizing because when he would get up, Saturday he was slow, getting around slow, kind of walking around and wobbling around slow. I didn't notice this. Of course, I'm always the last. I have to be the one that it's brought to my attention before I realize anything. I don't know why I'm like that. But anyway, Albert's the one that brought it to my attention Sunday. The way he was acting and doing, and when he would get up, he couldn't hardly stand up or move around or walk around. But that's what he done most of the day Sunday. He wouldn't stay settled down. He would walk around, and he would walk around in circles, but it was a wobbly walk. And then he would walk and bump into things. And so Albert got to noticing that, and Albert said, he's blind. He said, I believe he's blind. He can't see. So, I don't know why I can't keep my throat clear. So sorry, y'all. But anyway, and then the later it got, and he kept, peeing all over the floor, and Albert would clean it up, because I had my day Saturday, so Sunday Albert had it, of cleaning up after him. But anyway, he would walk into corners, okay? He would go to that corner over there where the mail center is and try to push way up in the corner. He tried to crawl under, my couch there, but then he ended up coming back out the back behind it. If you'll remember, we had that other long couch right here, and all of Gracie's, her desk and dollhouse was out right behind it. So he kept trying to get up in this, my other chair, which is now right here, this one, was right here. So he would get between the chair, and he was pushing Gracie's baskets of toys out of the way and trying to get up under in there, but then he would try to get behind that chair, which was over here. He would go and try to get under the table. He went in here to the kitchen at one point, and, let me cut this light on. My thing ain't gonna reach much further. But that stool right there, he went in under there, and he was trying to come back through that way, and he got stuck. Got his head stuck. I had to take my foot and push his head out. I did it, I wasn't mean or rough. I was being easy, but I was trying to guide him to back out, duck his head under that bar, and get out of there. All right, he even got in the bathroom, y'all, and tried going back behind the toilet. And he got his head stuck twice. Albert had to go in there with the broom and try to stop him with the broom, putting it at his head, because he didn't keep his head up. His head was always down. And he looked so sad in his face. His eyes looked like they were half closed, and I guess that was because maybe he was blind. But Albert put the broom against his forehead, and was trying to stop him from trying to come on through, because he couldn't fit through behind the toilet. And so he would nudge him and push him, trying to get him to go back. And he would yap. And any time Albert tried to help him by picking him up, he would yap. And it seemed like it was worse around his neck and head area. If Albert touched there, man, he yapped the loudest. So anyway, it was just rough. We was having it rough around here. So, and I've told y'all before, we can't afford a lot. Albert and them had checked, and he had said it was $300 to have a dog put down, and we couldn't afford it. So, Albert knew a vet that a while back he done a job for, and the vet had never paid him yet. So Albert called him, and, he started in right away. I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm going to get you paid. But Albert stopped him. He said, that's not what I'm calling about. And he said, I want to talk to you about my dog. So he did. And when he told, which the vet was out of town, that was yesterday, Sunday, and it was kind of, I guess it was midday maybe, early evening kind of. It wasn't late because, we had to wait a long time for the guy. We had to wait 2 hours for him to actually get back in town. He was out of town, but he was on his way home from town. So Albert told him and explained everything to him about how Butch was doing. So he said, yeah, he told him, he was on the road and headed home, that he would be in about 2 hours. He'd call him and let him know and meet him at his office, the vet office. So We had to wait a long time. It was actually getting dark when the guy finally called. But we kept having it rough with Butch. But finally, he actually would go outside for a little bit. A couple of times he went outside and he laid by the steps one time, and then another couple of times he tried to get up underneath the house. Albert said he was trying to get under there so he could die, and when he was trying to get behind things in here and in the corners, that he was trying to find a spot to get to die. It's sad. But anyway, so he would also I'm getting out of breath. So he would also get outside and just walk around in circles. It's just, even though he couldn't walk very good or well, it was wobbly. But it's like he couldn't get settled. He couldn't lay down. He wanted to be up walking around. So finally, when the vet called, Albert got him and put him in the back of the truck. He had been outside walking around. Yesterday was a rainy day, and the backyard is wet and muddy, and he got muddy. So Albert didn't want him inside of his truck, so he put him in the back of the truck, but he had to tie him. He put a rope around his collar, and then he tied the other end to the truck somehow up there close by the window. And so we told him we loved him, that Pawpaw was taking him to get medicine so he could get easy and go to sleep and rest. So and the reason we were Mama and Pawpaw to him is because he was, supposed to be our girls' dog, kind of like. He was a stray that came up in Mississippi. And then at first, Benny's my brother-in-law, and he's the one that named him and would let him sleep in his trailer at night. But then when we moved to Tennessee, we took him with us, but Benny didn't have his own house. He had to live in the house with us, so Butch was in the house with us. The girls got attached to him. So then when we moved again and Benny got his own little house in the backyard, instead of Butch following him out there, he stayed in the house with us. And so Elizabeth, we had another dog at the time. It was a little bitty Chihuahua, Junior. That was Elizabeth's dog. So Elizabeth was his mama. So we was his Mama and Pawpaw. So then we kind of just started considering Butch Katie's dog. Because she had a dog in Mississippi on Bowie, Dixie, and it got run over, and we had to have her put down back then before we even moved to Tennessee. So she was Dixie's mama. So we were their Mama and Pawpaw. So then we just started considering Butch, since he stayed in the house with us and didn't go with Benny, Katie's dog. So we was Mama and Pawpaw. Well, Katie moves out, gets married, and he stays with us, And then we ended up moving back we moved to Louisiana, Lacombe, and then that's where Junior, he got real bad off, and he ended up dying while we was there. Buried him in the backyard, and then it was just Butch. Well, we had a rabbit, too, that Elizabeth had gotten in Tennessee that was Chopper. She'd gotten it as a baby for photo props, to use in photo props with little kids. Well, it grew up and got big and got fat. She didn't use it anymore, so it was just our pet. But we was also its Mama and Pawpaw instead of Mom and Daddy, because she was Elizabeth's rabbit, And so, sorry, I wish my throat would stay clear. And so anyway, Chopper ended up dying in Lacombe also. She died before Junior did, and we was thinking Junior was going to go first. But then Junior went. Okay, so then we moved here. And, it's just gotten worse and worse with Butch until finally it was his time. So Albert took him to the vet. He went by and got Benny to go with him and help him. And he was telling me the doctor asked them to put him up on the table. They put him up there. He was wobbly, but he stood there kind of swaying and wobbly. This is what all Albert's told me. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. So, He said the doctor told them, well, he said the doctor, after he asked them to put him on the table, that he put his finger to his lips to say, like, shh, to Albert and Benny to be quiet for a minute, and he walked around the table. And he would watch Butch, and he was trying to see if Butch would notice, or look at him or anything, and he didn't. And then, he checked him over real good. He didn't really just do a physical, but he was checking all of that out. Let's see, he used the word, Albert said he was trying to check to see if he was, I can't think of the word, but where he noticed things, And he didn't act that way, like he was noticing anything around him. So the doctor told him, said, yeah, he was an old dog, and he was real bad off, that he should have been put down long ago. And so he did it. It took 2 shots. He gave him a shot for pain first that was supposed to ease his pain and make him go to sleep. And then he gave him the other shot that puts him down. But he ended up having to give him 2 of those. When he gave him the first shot for pain and to make him sleepy, he went out to fix the other shot, and when he come back in, Butch was still standing on the table. And he was expecting to see him laying down, real sleepy and going off to sleep. But he wasn't. He said, man, this dog don't want to lay down, does he? But Albert said the doctor was real nice and would talk to him and lay there talking to him and rubbing him as they was waiting, and he wouldn't let Albert and them leave until he knew for sure that, he was gone. But to start off with, I think before he gave him the shot that puts him down, he told Albert that he wanted to make sure that he couldn't feel anything. So he would take his fingers and tap under his eyes and around, kind of like on his nose, to see if, I guess maybe if he blinked or looked up or looked around or whatever, he could tell if he could feel anything. And so he couldn't. So then he said, okay, he don't feel anything, we can give him the other shot. So they did. And then Albert said the doctor laid there, or not laid there, Butch was finally laying down. He told Albert and Benny they had to pick him up and lay him down, actually. And Albert said he kept his head I was doing so good. Albert said he kept his head laying on his arm and the crook of his arm and the bend of the elbow. And the doctor was sitting there, and where he put the shot in, he was rubbing it and massaging it in the vein, talking about how the medicine was going up in his vein. He was rubbing it to make sure it was moving and going on up in there. Anyway, so we had him put down. Albert brought him back, and they buried him out here in the backyard. So we don't have any pets anymore. And I had done made the decision long ago, when it was his time, we wasn't going to get any more. At least for many, many years. Maybe years down the road we'll end up getting something, I don't know. But we have had dogs and cats all throughout our marriage when the girls was young. And so Elizabeth's fixing to move out soon. It's just gonna be me and Albert. We don't need any pets. And the reason the big couch is gone is because basically it had become Butch's couch. And he laid on it all the time, and bless his heart, he couldn't help it. But he started stinking, and he would lay it on the couch. He would leak on the couch, and he couldn't help it. But the couch got, real stained up and bad and looking dirty and stink. They said it stink. I can't smell, but they would say it stinks. So he took the couch out just a while ago and got rid of it. And so that's why it's gone, and Gracie's toys are pushed back this way, and my other chair is moved over there. And that one is still there, and my craft stuff. And I just wanted to share that with y'all to let y'all know that we don't have Butch anymore. Okay, guys, that's all for now. I'm out of here until next time I'm done. I'm gone. Toodaloo.